With me in the studio this hour, Eric Mandel from the Middle East Political Information Network and senior editor at the Jerusalem Report, and Yaakov Lappin is with us as well from the Miryam Institute, the Jewish News Syndicate and the Alma Center. Thank you both. So, Eric, do you think that Israel is being vindicated after years of trying to get the international community to recognise the threat from Iran, and in particular the IRGC, the Revolutionary Guards?
Well, the idea it took so long to acknowledge what they are. The IRGC is a terrorist organization, and the Europeans very often, and even the Americans, try to split it, saying there's a difference between the political and the military wing. There's no difference. It's sort of like the same thing with Hamas, that you have the political leaders in Doha and you have the Sinwar there. These terrorist organizations are all integrated and they're all of the same purpose. So is Israel vindicated? The IRGC is a nefarious organization directly under the supreme leader that has led its proxy network, and it has its purpose is basically the annihilation of Israel, the killing of Jews. It should be very, very clear, and trying to hide it or not be clear about it. The question really is, will there be consequences when they find these in Canada, when they find that there are people that are affiliated? Will they do anything? In America, for example, we have people affiliated with Hamas, Americans, Muslims for Palestine and things like that, and people really can't get on top of them and can't sanction them, even though they have a long paper trail. So is Israel vindicated? That's the point, is what are they going to do with what this new designation is, and will others join on and make real consequences? Yeah,
well, that's the big question, isn't it, Yaakov? Will other countries follow suit? We've seen some very worrying incidents in the United Kingdom, for example, which is yet to designate the IRGC as a terrorist organisation. Thugs essentially affiliated with the regime, going after dissidents, attempted murder of a journalist at Iran International, this kind of thing. Do you think that this might serve as a wake-up call?
Well, I hope so, but there have been already so many wake-up calls, and unfortunately many in the West do prefer to go back to sleep because it's easier for them to kick the can down the road, or so they think. But look, I think, the IRGC is the main problem. It's the main problem in the region. It's the main problem in the world. It's the mechanism through which, as Eric just said, the Iranian regime implements its very dark, radical, and jihadist ideology. And therefore, yes, of course, it needs to be designated. That should be a no-brainer. The fact that this is only happening now or is still somehow in debate is really just a stain on there's no other word for me to describe it, but cowardice that this is even the case in the Western world. But more importantly, I think the IRGC has got to be the target of nonstop, covert, regional, international strike campaign. Its leaders have to be killed and its assets have to be taken out, because otherwise the IRGC is going to keep arming, fueling, and sending terrorist armies in our direction.
And it's everywhere, isn't it? It's a global threat now. It's in Latin America, it's in Europe, it's in the Americas.
Drugs coming from South America to fund them. I brought that up with a senator not that long ago, who was not sympathetic with Israel, and I said, well, maybe you should care about Hezbollah. You care about the drug problem in America.
100%. So, of course, it's a major threat to international security. They're active everywhere. First, they try to infiltrate Shiite communities around the world and recruit, and they work together with the Iranian Ministry of Intelligence. They each have their sort of sectors of operation. But the bottom line is that there has to be a concerted international effort led by Israel, the United States, and partaken by the Sunni countries to target the IRGC, because if they're not targeted and if they don't spend their time trying to evade being targeted, they are going to go on the attack. And they do that through proxy warfare and also through direct attack. They have increasingly been involved in directly attacking. So whether it's getting the missiles to the Houthis that are now paralyzing international trade in the Red Sea, the Hamas mass murder attack on October 7th would not have been possible without the IRGC. Everything we're facing from Lebanon now is the IRGC. They are the puppet masters, and they have got to be targeted day in and day out. Otherwise, they're going to keep destabilizing and endangering our world.
All right. Thank you both.